Good evening, everyone, and thank you for making time to attend the webinar today, where we'll be talking about password security made simple for SMEs. So as the rest join, they'll find us already started. My name is Walter Buyu. I'm a principal consultant at DSEC Consulting. And so what we do as DSEC is to help businesses to harness information technology by providing them with information assurance. So that is making sure that we take care of their cybersecurity needs so that they're able to focus more on how they can use ICT to enhance their business. So we do this through 4 pillars. So the first is on governance, risk management, and compliance. So through this, you're able to help organizations to develop security policies, review them. We're also able to conduct risk assessments and the mitigations. We do audits, and also we check on compliance with cybersecurity related regulatory requirements as well as standards. The second is infrastructure security. So on this, we focus on helping sure that organizations are able to defend or harden the infrastructure that they have, that is their computers, their mobile phones, so those are what we call user devices, their servers, their networks, their applications. The third pillar is security operations. So this involves monitoring the networks that the businesses have, as well as being able to help them respond to incidents, conduct digital forensics if they need to, and also provide them with threat intelligence. And lastly, we conduct cybersecurity training. So this is for the business employees as well as the business clients. So in terms of what you're covering today on password security, the scope, we look at how attackers gain access to your passwords, the most common password mistakes and how to fix them, how to create strong, memorable passwords, how to manage passwords securely, how to protect your business with the two-factor authentication, and a simple implementation plan you can start immediately. So as part of housekeeping, in case you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat that should be at the bottom there, at the bottom of your screen. You'll be able to see a chat. So it looks like 2 bubbles, just like the one I have down here. And also, I will be able to share the password security checklist with you. So I will email them to you tomorrow. So with that, why does password security matter? So most of the attacks that businesses face are normally due to passwords. So either weak passwords or stolen passwords. So 81% of those attacks involve either weak or stolen passwords. And there is a cost to this when these breaches happen. So the first is financial. This could be direct, where money is lost, but there's also indirect financial implication. So there could be the legal fees that now businesses have to pay their lawyers to help them with the case. Of course, clients might sue the business, so that will also involve some financial spending from the business to be able to be represented in court. We also have regulators. So for example, in Kenya, we have the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. This will come in as well. And so ODPC, as it is acronymed, might also have its own fines on the business. And then there's also the reputation. So once your client data gets out there through the weak password or stolen password that were used, as a business, your reputation might be dented, and that will definitely now lead to either clients leaving you, and also it becomes difficult for you as a business to attract clients. And why SMEs particularly? So SMEs might not have the budget to have strong security measures in place, though it can still be done, of course. And so they become a low-hanging fruit for the attackers. So attackers tend to target SMEs a lot because they might not be as well protected as they think. So how do attackers gain access to your passwords? The first is through phishing. So phishing is where attackers will either send an email that looks legitimate, could be from your partner, That is the partners that you work with. It could be from your supplier. It could be from a client, yeah, or a vendor. It looks legitimate, but if you look keenly, you find that there are a few things that actually don't add up, yeah. And so they take advantage of the way our human minds work. When you see an email that purports to be from Walter, for example, and you know Walter, then you're likely to trust it. And in that email, they will embed some link, which now will redirect you to another site to be able to divulge your password. There's one case that I was looking into where the attackers sent an email to the employee, an employee in an organization, and they informed them that passwords are being changed. Click here to change your password. And it was just around the time when they were supposed to do that. Yeah. So luckily, they shared this with me and I was able to advise them. And the IT team was able to handle that. The second under phishing is websites. So you might see a legitimate websites that look like the one you know. I've seen this, for example, with Kilimall. So you find that the authentic Kilimall will have maybe a single L and a double L at the end. But now this one, they might have two L's, both at Kili and Mall. So you see, that's very difficult to spot. Yeah. So the attackers will just clone a website that looks legitimate to the one that you know. And then on that website, then they'll ask now you to maybe log in. Now, when you log in the first time, they'll tell you that, oh, your password was wrong or something like that, right? But on the second attempt, but what they've done on the first attempt is that they've now captured your username and your password. So when you try a second time, they'll direct you to the real website. And so you log in, okay? Yeah, so that's what they do with that. So that is phishing. The second is social engineering. So phishing is a subset of social engineering. But now other methods that they use social engineering include SMS. So I'm sure some of you might have received some SMS, for example, telling you that the landlord says that now you need to pay the rent through this other bank account, things like that. But in some cases, it could be an SMS telling you to click on a link for a platform that you already know so that you're able to log in and do something. So they've changed the platform, they've changed the website. So yeah, that is one of the ways they do through SMS. Calls. I received a call sometime last year. So in Kenya, there is a place called Mulot. So I was one of the people whom they targeted last year. And so they were telling me that my bank, they've changed the pay bill number that they use. And so am I aware of this? And I told them, okay. Yeah. So they informed me of the new pay bill number. And then they asked me to share with them a code that has been sent to me via SMS. So the good thing was I was alert and I already knew what my bank was doing at the time. And so with this, I did not share that code. In some cases, you might receive a call from customer care asking you, telling you that there's something that is happening. And so they are changing accounts or something, or changing passwords or upgrading the systems. And they need they're changing passwords and they need your password to be able to complete that particular change or upgrade. Okay. So that's how they do it via calls. Then WhatsApp. So in Kenya, we've had several cases where people's accounts have been taken over and they've been used to scam other people. Okay, so that is one way, but that's a bit extreme. On the other end, what happens is that you receive a message on WhatsApp that is telling you to click a link to register or to log into some account that you already have. Okay, though it could be a false message. And so when you log in, they're able to capture your password. Leaked passwords from other breaches. So let's say that you are subscribed to another organization or another company that does some work. So for example, you have an account with Jumia, Kilimall, you have an account with any other company, say company ABC, okay? So you've used your email address to sign up on that company's platform as well as a password. So if company ABC is compromised, so if they are breached, then your username, which is your email or username, will be exposed as well as your password. And so attackers can use those particular login information on the same platform or other platforms as well. And that's why you're normally advised not to use the same password across different accounts. The fourth way that they gain access is through malware. So malware is malicious software. Okay, it's like a short form. It's the short form for malicious software. So this is software that does bad things on your computer. It does harm to your computer. So if you've ever used a crack, okay, so that means a Windows crack, so Windows Activator or an Office Activator, or KMSPICO, or maybe you are installing Adobe and then you download a crack for it, or you download a software that is already cracked. All right. So basically, you are using software without paying for it, yet you should be paying. In most cases, you'll find that the software will ask you to turn off either the Windows firewall or your antivirus. Yeah. So what happens is your antivirus is there to protect you from malicious software. So if the software was genuine, or if the activator was genuine in this case, it wouldn't ask you to turn off your antivirus because it's not doing any harm. Okay. So these activators, once you use them, they have malware in them. And so they will be able to capture your password. Either when you are typing, they'll capture that. Or they can also harvest your passwords from the browser if you're storing passwords from your browser. They can also do other things like taking photos of your screen and also accessing other files on your computer. And they are able to ship those out to the attacker's computer. Okay. Then the fifth way that attackers gain access to your password is through brute force. So brute force simply means there are those common passwords that people tend to use. For example, the word password, admin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some even use 7 and 8 as well. You have 6 zeros, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. So if you've ever used something similar to this, then that's likely to be accessible to the attackers as well. So what attackers do when they conduct brute force is that they use commonly used password. They have a list that has those commonly used password, and they tend to use them. They go through the entire list trying to log in with the different password to see which one works. So now I'll demonstrate to you how you can tell whether your passwords have been exposed. And then after that, I'll show you why. I'll show you malware, that is KMSPICO. I'll show you how antivirus is able to capture that. And we'll confirm that indeed it's malicious from another tool called VirusTotal. And then I'll show you some credentials that we were able to access in the dark web. And you'll see how weak the passwords are. Okay. So let me come here. All right. So there is this website, Have I Been Owned? So if you can do this with me, that would be great. So Have I Been Owned? Once you type that, you should come to this. Click on this. So what happens on this website is you just give it your email address. So I'll give it mine. Let me give it that. Okay. And then you click on check. So what it does, it will check whether there are attacks that have exposed your passwords. Okay. Yeah, so your username and passwords. So if you look at this, for example, mine, so you can see that my email address has been exposed in 5 breaches. Right? There's a button here for notify me. So this one, if you want this platform to notify you in case your email is traced in any of those breached passwords, then you'll be able to do that. So you can see here in January 2019, my email was seen in this collection of exposed passwords. And you can see here what was exposed was my email address and password. In 2016 as well, that is the second one, there was this list of usernames and password that was exposed. And you can see email addresses and password were exposed there. Dailymotion, I remember you signing up on this platform. And so in this attack, email address, passwords, and usernames were exposed. And then the fourth one, there is DaniWeb. I remember this as well. And you can see email address, IP, all right? That can tell them which country you are accessing that platform from or the website from. And also the passwords were exposed. And then, of course, MySpace. So this one as well, in this particular attack, the email address, password, and usernames were exposed. So I'd signed up on these platforms, and you can see that my email address and password for these particular platforms were exposed. So if you click on View Details, it gives you further information on this one. So you can see that this particular compromise affected 359.4 million accounts, all right? It occurred in 2008, and it was added to this platform in 2016. And you can see the data that was exposed were the email addresses, the passwords, and the usernames. And so the recommended action, and this is what I did actually, was to change my password and also to enable two-factor authentication. And of course, there is using a password manager, which I'll cover later in this webinar. Okay. So that's a quick way of knowing whether your email and password have been exposed. So you just put your email address on this particular platform and click on check, and you should be able to see that. Okay. All right. So the second thing is KMSPICO. So if I come here, I'll just open KMSPICO. So I'll just search for it, KMSPICO. And you can see that KMSPICO is an activator I can use to activate Windows and also Office. Okay. So the operating system as well as the Windows apps or Office apps. So if I click on this particular link, you can see my antivirus has blocked it, and it tells me that this is a phishing website, and it tricks you into revealing your personal information such as passwords and bank account information. All right, so it has been flagged as malware. Okay, so I'm not going to download that, which is a good thing that you're supposed to do. Okay, and now just a reminder for you, this is why it is important to have an antivirus installed on your computer. It's able to protect you without, even if you don't know, because somebody might send you a malicious web to access, and if you have an antivirus, it may be able to block that and let you know. All right, so if I dig in more on KMSPICO, so I'm just going to come to this particular platform here called VirusTotal. So this is where cybersecurity professionals like us provide information on malware that we find. So it's like a database of malware. So if I just search here KMSPICO, you can see the feedback. So if I just open this, just want to show you something here. You can see that there's information about this KMSPICO, and you can see that it's been marked malicious and it is a botnet. So what happens, what a botnet is, it is a group of computers that have been compromised by the attackers, and the attackers have control of those computers. So if you install KMSPICO, for example, as I said, it is malware, so it will be able to install other malicious, other bad files in your computer that will also give the attacker control of your computer, in addition to harvesting data such as passwords from your computer. Okay, and also what happens with a botnet is that now your computer becomes part of the computers used by the attackers to conduct further attacks. So you can see KMSPICO has been flagged here as malicious. All right. And now, as I was explaining, there are those common password mistakes that we want to avoid. So using simple passwords like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these are easy to guess, and we'll see that they are cracked in a very short time. And then reusing the same password across multiple accounts. So you can imagine if you're using the password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on filing taxes, that is on KRA website, and you're using it on eCitizen, and you are using it maybe say in banking. Okay, so it means that if one of those accounts is compromised, if an attacker gets access to one of those institutions' accounts, they'll find your password, which is 123456, and they can use that now to log into other accounts that you've used the same password. That's why we discourage that. Using personal information such as birthdays, we see this a lot. Somebody has their name and the year of birth, or their child's name and the year of birth, so that is discouraged. Then using pet names, using ID number, as we've seen, phone number, as we've seen, or the domain. So what happens, what we've observed as well with some businesses, is that they use the username and password as the name of their website. Okay, so for example, if our website is dsec.co.ke, so you find that we sign up on a platform and then we indicate the username as dsec.co.ke and password as dsec.co.ke. That's something that we've seen among the things we've seen in the dark web. Sharing passwords via email or text, that's also not good. If someone has access to your email, then they have access to all your passwords. So I used to do this some time back before I got into cybersecurity. So I created a draft email, and then I added passwords in that draft email. Yeah, I thought I was being smart, but that's not the case. Okay. Writing password on sticky notes, you'll find that somebody writes password on sticky notes and then they stick it either on their computer or on their desk. That is not good. So it means that anyone who passes in the office is able to have access to that sticky note, and therefore they're able to have access to your passwords. Then using short passwords, as we've seen, this 123456, and also never changing your passwords. Now, there is a caveat to this. Once you have a strong password, you don't need to change it regularly. You only need to change it when you suspect it has been exposed, or indeed you have confirmed that it has been exposed. Okay. Okay, so let's go to demo and let's see these weak passwords. All right. Come back here. Okay. So if you Google how strong is my password, you will see these results. And one of them is from security.org. So this is the one that we want to see, all right, or visit. So click on that. And once you do, it will ask you to type your password, and it will tell you how easy it is to be cracked, okay? So let's type admin. You can see admin, and if you can do this with me, that would be great. So admin, this password will be cracked instantly. Yeah. Let's see other thing that we saw password. Password will also be cracked instantly. And then we saw ABC 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be cracked instantly as well. This person had put a dot. So ABC dot 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, 34 minutes, right? To crack it. And if we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it will still be cracked instantly. And we saw somebody added an A. So let me add an A. It will be cracked in 42 minutes. All right. Yeah. So if you have a password that you know or you suspect is weak, you can confirm it using this particular tool. Okay. All right. So how do we create a strong and memorable password? So the strength of a password lies in the length, how long that password is. Okay. So the longer it is, the stronger it is. And also, it should be easy to remember. So if it is long, it is hard to crack. But also on your side, you want to make it easy to remember. So some of the ways that you can approach this, you can get a favorite line from a song. A favorite line from a song, that can work. You can also look at a favorite saying in your local language. That can also work. All right. So think along those lines. So let's go back to this security.org. And I'm going to try a password here. and say today space is so I want to write today is a beautiful day, okay, with the spaces. So today is a beautiful day. You can see 83 quintillion years. You won't even be alive, within this lifetime. Okay, and you can see something that it is long. Today is a beautiful day is long, and it is easy to remember. Okay, yeah. So let's try something. A favorite line from a song. Let's say now that Valentine is around the corner, how will I know if you love me? Right? How will I know if you love me? Right? You see, 15 octillion years. Okay? But it will be very difficult for somebody to crack that, for the computer to crack it. Okay? Very difficult. Easy to remember. It is long, easy to remember, but difficult to crack. Okay? All right. So the question therefore is, you have many accounts and you are required to have a unique password for each of those business accounts that you have. And here I am saying that those passwords need to be long. And for sure, we cannot remember the long passwords for several accounts. All right. So that is where a password manager comes in. So a password manager is like a safe. So think of a key safe. There's a safe where you store keys. All right. Now, the only thing that you need to know is the password to that safe. So once you have the password to that safe, then able to access the key and be able to open the various rooms that you need to open. All right. So with that analogy, the keys refers to the passwords. Or rather, let's start with the safe. The safe is the password manager. Okay. The key to the safe is what we call the master password. All right. Or the combination to the safe is what we call the master password. And then those particular keys that are inside the safe, now those are the passwords. And the doors that you need to open are the accounts. All right. The different accounts that you have online. Okay. So why use a password manager? So with a password manager, you can generate strong, unique passwords automatically. Okay. So whichever site you access and you need to create a new password for it, password manager will do that for you automatically. And then you simply save. Now, also, password manager will store all those passwords securely in an encrypted vault. So that will make sure that whoever accesses that vault, in case they do, which is normally impossible, even if attackers are to access it, then they'll not be able to see your plain password since it is encrypted. Okay? And then also, password managers allow you to share password vaults. So if you have a team that is in customer service, for example, and you have subscribed to Zoho, so you have one account for Zoho, but you have 3 people who work in customer service and they need to access that particular password, then you simply create a vault and then you add that password for Zoho inside that vault. And then now you grant access to the 3 people in your team to access that vault. So the moment somebody is just granted access to that vault, they automatically have passwords that are stored to that vault. So that's how password managers ensure that passwords are secured, or rather are shared securely. Then it also autofills logging forms. So when you open a password manager and you've saved your login, for example, for zoho.com, you don't need to type on the browser. You can just click and it will open and fill that particular form, login form, with the username and the password. Password manager also works across all devices. So you can have the password manager on your Windows PC or laptop, and then you can install the Android version on your phone, Samsung phone or whichever brand that you use. Okay. And all these are synchronized. And then it works across all devices, as I've said. So you only remember one master password, which is the combination to the safe, as I said. So that's where now this the long memorable password comes in, because you just need to have that one long memorable password. Is the only one that you need to remember. And then it detects weak and compromised passwords. All right. So in case you have a password like ABC123, it will flag it that it is weak. Or if your password has been exposed, as I showed you on Have I Been Owned, it will be able to pick that as well and tell you that your password has been exposed. So you need to change it. All right. I'm going to show you that in a few. So setting up a password manager, you need to choose a password manager. That's the first thing. So us at DSEC, we use 1Password. We've used it for 6 years now, and it has worked really well for us. It has never been compromised. But also there is Bitwarden as well, which is free. There is Keepers as well, which is free and also open source. So you can choose the one according to your budget and your needs. So once you choose the password manager, you need to install the password manager on your computer. And then, as I said, we need that master password. So create a strong master password. And then normally what happens, you'll have an emergency kit to help you to recover your account in case you forget your password, your master password, okay? The combination to the safe. In case you forget it, then this emergency kit comes in handy. So you need to back it up. So the emergency kit, it will contain, you'll write, preferably it should be printed. It will have your email address, which you use to log into the password manager. It will have the password as well. And there's normally a secret key that is added as part of security. So all that will be in there. So you need to print out that and keep it somewhere. Then now, once you do that, you need to install the browser extensions and mobile app. So the browser extension will help with saving passwords as well as opening the websites that you've stored in the password manager and automatically logging in. Import existing passwords. So if your password you use already elsewhere, or you're using, maybe you've stored them on your browser, which is not a good thing, by the way. I'll show you why you shouldn't store passwords in your browser. Then you can import them now from Excel file or a text file. So you can import the passwords into the password manager. And then generate new strong passwords for important accounts. So we are looking at your banking, your customer relationship management, your email. So you need to generate those stronger passwords for those ones. And then, as we said, enable autofill. Okay. All right. So I'll now show you 1Password, which is what we use, and you'll be able to see some of these functionalities. All right. So let's come here. All right, so let me just do this. 1Password. So as you can see here, I have to log in through my Windows pane, and it lands me there. So the first thing that you see here is a watchtower. So a watchtower, it keeps an eye. It's like the typical watchtower that we see in movies and all that, keeping a watch on your passwords. And you can see here, the first thing is that there are 16 vulnerable passwords, okay? So this is a demonstration account. So there are 16 vulnerable passwords, and you can see Have I Been Owned right there, okay? So it's able to check against that. It doesn't check using plain, it encrypts before checking. And then you can see as well, it tells me there are 45 reused passwords. So in case you have reused your passwords, remember we said passwords are supposed to be unique. So in case you reuse passwords, it's able to flag that and bring that to your attention. If in case you have weak passwords, it will also show that. It will show you have 22, like this one, 22 weak passwords. In case you are accessing an insecure website, it will also flag that. So you stored password for a given website, but that website is insecure. It's running on what we call HTTP. Then it will flag that as well. In case there are duplicates items, that means you've saved the same password twice. Same password for the same website twice, it will flag that. Then passkeys as well. So this is where you use your biometrics to sign in instead of passwords. So it's able to, so website that allow that, it's able to show you, you have this number of websites where you can use passkeys instead of passwords. So it'll tell you that as well. But we can cover this in another session. And then two-factor authentication. So it can tell you also the number of websites that you've stored the credentials of which you've stored. And if those websites have two-factor authentication, it will highlight that as well. I'll cover that as part of our presentation. All right. Okay. Now, I spoke about vaults. So these are vaults, and I'll show you one for customer service. So you can see here, I have a ticketing system. Okay. So now, this particular password is ticketing, and you can see here, it tells me this password is vulnerable. So this is just a demo password that I had created for this particular website. So you can see the username is ticketing, which is okay, but the password is terrible. You can see it has highlighted there, terrible. And remember when I said it can automatically open the website that you stored and log in? Here it is. So open and fill. Okay. So if you click on this, it will launch the website and it will try to log in. All right. Okay. So what I want to do now is to show you how to add. We're going to add a new account online for Zoho. So here we are on Zoho. So let's say that we are creating an account for Zoho and we want to store it in our password manager. As you can see here already, one password icon is appearing here, ready to assist us either to log in or save. So email address, let's say customer service at dsec.co.ke. All right. And you see it shows here save in one password. So it knows that currently we don't have any account related to Zoho that is stored in the password manager. So I'll click save. Okay. Right. And then now it will just ask you for the password, which you can generate, by the way, or type. But I'll show you now. I want to type a weak one. So let's type what we saw. We saw password, right? So let me type here password as or let me type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, A, what we saw. All right. Then I want to save it to a vault, because remember we said that for Zoho, we want to make sure that everyone in customer service is able to access it, right? So I'll click the vault that I want to save it to and say customer service. Then I save, right? Right. So now, if I was to log in, I'll just say Zoho, I can just reload this and we see. All right. So assuming I was logging in, you see now it brings this, which I can of course click here and it automatically, yeah. But of course, this account can be found because I didn't sign up, all right? But you can see automatically it attempts to log me in using the credential that I've saved. Now, if I go back to the password manager here, remember initially you only had ticketing. Now we have Zoho as well. Now, if I click on Zoho, you can see it tells me that this password appears to be on a list of exposed passwords. That is what happens. So if you use a password that is already exposed, the password manager will let you know. It will notify you, okay? And you can see it says this password is terrible right there, okay? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna change this password. So let's change it. Let's change it. So I'll just do edit. Okay, I'll edit, then I'll come here, create new password. As you can see, click on create new password. And now you can see it gives me this complex password that I don't even need to remember, okay? Yeah, and if you want it to be longer, you can increase up to 28 or 30. All right, then 28, 30, whatever number you want. And then I click use. And now you see I have a stronger password. If I click save, now that will change. You can now, right? You can see now it has changed to purple. So it means, and say that your password is now fantastic, right? Yeah. Now, I don't need to remember this password. I only need to remember my master password, right? Now, remember we said you can open and fill. So I can show you that here with this one as well. So if I click on this, you see it will automatically open the browser go to Zoho, and then it will attempt to log in using those credentials. So I can let this one run its course. All right, Zoho accounts. Right. So then that, you see it has even come. I can just say sign in. All right. Of course, account not found because I did not sign up. But I hope that shows you how the sign in, how automatic sign in happens once you have a password manager. All right. Something that someone might be thinking right now. Okay. Someone might be thinking, how about I who uses browser-based password manager? So if you're using Google Chrome, Firefox, or Edge, there's an option for you to save your password on the browser, okay? Can help you, but there are some risks to this, okay? So what happens is, remember to talk about the malware. So when malware has access to your computers, one of the things that the malware do is to access the passwords or the data that is stored on your browser. And you can see here, this is January. This is data that we got from the dark web in January. You can see it's a zip file and it is KE. So it is someone's computer in Kenya. And you can see the malware picked whatever they had autofilled. It picked their Google accounts, the software they're using, the wallets. If you guys are using crypto. And also there is these passwords here, all right, which is the list of passwords from their browsers. So what is two-factor authentication? So it's a combination of two things, something you know and something you have. So if you've accessed if you have a mobile banking application and you try to log in, it will ask you to provide your PIN, which you'll provide, and then sometimes biometrics as well. All right. So something you know is your PIN, and then the fingerprint is something you are actually. And that's still part of two-factor because there are two things being used. But when you transact now, when you try to send money or transfer money, what happens is it will ask you for your password again or your PIN. And then after that, it will send an OTP, some numbers. It will send those numbers via SMS. And then that the mobile banking app will pick that number automatically. So that's what we call one-time passcode or one-time password, right? So you know that two things are happening here. There is what you know, which is your password, and then there is what you have, which is your phone. So you need that phone to receive the code, the OTP, so as to be able to either log in or finish the transaction, okay? Yeah, security key here, some can be inserted through the USB ports as the second thing or the second factor that you have. But also, if I might help you understand this as well, there are some places where if you go, they'll ask you, if you are working in an organization, some organization will ask you to use your PIN, you know, in that access pad. You use your PIN, if you want to open the door, use your PIN and then tap your card, your key card, your access card, right? So PIN is what you know, and then that job card that you tap is what you have. So there are two things being used to tell that you are whom you claim to be. So normally this, the second factor, which is now the code and all that, you can receive them either through SMS, which is common, or also through an Google an authentication application, right? Such as Microsoft Authenticator or Google Authenticator. Okay. So why is it important to have two-factor authentication as part of the security measures as you log in? Number one, it blocks automated attacks. So attackers will automate to try to log in just using the username and password. But when they try to do that, there is that second layer, which is that code, which they cannot access because you're the only one who has your phone and your SIM card. Okay. Yeah. Now, even if a password is stolen, your account stays safe. Like now, the passwords we've shown you, even if an attacker has them, but you have enabled two-factor authentication, then they're not able to use it. because they won't have access to your phone and your SIM card, to which the authentication one-time passcodes are sent. Okay. So when implementing 2FA in your business, some priority accounts that you want to have, of course, is your email account, because that's where you receive your quotations, your invoices, your financial statements, your bank statements, the leads you are chasing, all that, your email accounts. All right. So you want to make that is well secured with two-factor authentication. Banking and financial services, that one cannot be overemphasized. You know, you are maybe transacting on Amazon, Gigi, GGPay, Gigi, etc. Yeah, you want to secure those with two-factor authentication. Cloud storage, you are storing your important documents on Google Drive, on Dropbox. You want to secure those with two-factor authentication. Your CRMs, and also your social media accounts. I'm sure you've heard of cases where people have lost the large following that they had simply because someone took over their accounts. But if they had two-factor authentication, they would have salvaged their accounts, and therefore they wouldn't have lost their customers. Okay? So make sure that their social media accounts as well are protected using two-factor authentication. So as we wind up, the implementation plan that you should consider: one, in the first week, Power Foundation. So you need to choose and set up a password manager. As we've seen, it makes your life way easier as a business. So choose one and set up. Change passwords for critical accounts, as we've said: email, banking, social media. Enable two-factor authentication on critical accounts. So you can do that in the first week. In the second week, you want to protect your business account. So update your business tool passwords, your CRMs, make sure that they're updated with the correct password and 2FA as well. And then document emergency access procedures, just in case you forget your username and your master password rather. How do you go about that? So this is where the emergency kit comes in, as we said. Then now you need to train your team as well. So train employees on password security, so that everyone is able to protect the business when they're aware of this. Roll out password manager to the team, the wider team, and also create a password policy that guides how passwords are created, when they are changed, etc. Then week 4, you look into maintenance, audit all accounts for weak passwords. Remember, we said that you can import passwords that you have somewhere into your password manager. So when you do that, some of the passwords that you import might be weak. So you need just to make sure that you audit that and change them to be strong. And then set up password change reminders. So this one as well, if maybe there are those accounts that you feel you want to change passwords after maybe every 3 months or something, then you can do that. And then also you want to review and update the security settings as need be. Okay. So some quick wins that you can do. You can change your email password to a strong passphrase. I've shown you what a passphrase is, you know. It's your favorite line in a song, a phrase that you know in your local language. And we've seen that they're long and therefore strong, and also they're easy to remember. And it is difficult for attackers to guess them. Then enable 2FA on your email. All right, sign up for a password manager. So make sure you use that. We do not encourage people to use password managers that are available on the browsers. Okay, so no saving passwords on the browsers. And then check if your passwords have been breached. So I showed you that website. You can have a look at that. And then update your most important account passwords, as we said. So that is it from me, from us. So you can reach me on walter@dsec.co.ke, or you can reach us at hello@dsec.co.ke. And we also have a line that you can call us or WhatsApp us.